If you're from Jacksonville off of Beach Boulevard, you'll know that this was an original Blockbuster store and we just completely transformed it into a Biggby coffee shop. So I'm here with my project manager, Mark, superintendent, Randy, and we're gonna run you through. Let's check it out. When Kevin from Biggby Coffee reached out to us the first time, I was like, oh man, this guy is cool. I could just tell by like the first couple, emails he sent and the form he filled out. And I saw the excitement that he had about his project. We saw Biggby Coffee, which was actually an old Blockbuster building. It was just amazing transformation. But when he first called, I was like, man, I gotta go out there and see this for myself. We went out to the old Blockbuster and we walked around this blue carpet, blue walls and all this stuff. I was like, wow, this is like really where you took like the old, VHSs off the wall. And so it was just kind of this abandoned space in a strip center that Kevin had a vision for, and we got immediately behind that vision.
Biggby was my favorite coffee growing up, and so I've been in the corporate world for a long time. Got to a point where I was kind of looking for something else and something different to do, and Biggby Coffee kind of made the list of something we could do and be the first ones to bring it to Jacksonville.
Kevin, throughout the process, and Kevin as a client, he was great. I would call him and say, hey, what about this? He goes, Randy, I trust you. We talk all the time. Go ahead and do whatever you feel is right or you feel is gonna look good. And that's the way he was throughout the whole project.
Client needs up front for Biggby were a quick start date and a quick finish date. And so there's a lot that takes place in a team really managing the project well, the schedule well, and the finances well, but also understanding what the client's needs are. We're focused on the construction, also that client experience.
So as with all projects that have been happening recently, there's been persistent communication with architects, engineers, and recently landlords. So whenever you do a tenant build out, it's not just the architect and engineers you have to engage along with your client, but there's oftentimes landlords that have to have a large play. We had to have the landlord involved about where this demising wall is going to be, what's the roof like and the condition of the roof, a lot of those things. So just keep that in mind as you're moving forward. It's not just the client interactions that you're having to make. You got to keep all those relationships tight and everyone's involved in having a good product in the end.
So on this side, there's gonna be a drive-through. How are we gonna do that, Mark?
Yeah, so we have site workers coming in. We're gonna demo the sidewalk, some of the asphalt. We're gonna push some of this stuff back, cut a hole in the stucco in the CMU block right there for our drive-through window. And right here is gonna be our drive-through sign and speaker.
The drive-through window was right under a structural roof beam, and there was a poured concrete column that was supporting that beam.
That's the structural part of the building. So we waited 2.5 weeks and we suggested of how to redesign it. And the engineer took that suggestion, made us some new drawings, and we just moved the drive-through over.
So you might ask, why is that a big deal? Moving the window over a few inches, 8 inches, 6 inches, whatever it was. The insides didn't change because the window changed. The cabinetry was prefabricated. We had to make sure everything still worked with the products that we had on order and were already delivered in some cases. Now that the building had structure looked differently.
Yeah, I mean, this being a sidewalk to what it is now is actually, it's amazing that it worked out, and having a drive-through and a concrete block wall that wasn't supposed to have a drive-through window in it.
Parking is always going to be an issue when you change a structure's use. And so this was one of those where we had to increase the parking. So that whole area over there, we actually had to push back the parking lot 5 feet. We actually put real nice brick over there. Made the end product look 100 times better.
And when I began to see all the finishes go in, and the cabinetry, the flooring, the lime green wall with the stripes, all those things, I was reading on paper, but when it finally came into fruition, I was like, oh, this looks nice. And it's even better that the client is thrilled about it.
Every time I build something, I look at it as mine. I look at it that I'm gonna be running my business out of there, or my parents, or anybody in my family is gonna be running a business out of there. So I want to build that like I'm building it for them. And once I do that, and once I feel that proud of that, then I know I can turn it over to the owner.
When my project manager comes to me and goes, look, like this is an email from Kevin, he's like, man, you guys are just so awesome. And it's just to Mark, right? Just an email to Mark. And he's just like raving about how amazing we've gotten through these challenges and how amazing the projects turn out and how amazing our communication is and the daily logs every single day about what's happening on site. So many different dynamics that go into a project that most people don't even know about. They're like, oh, cool. it looks pretty, but what's behind the walls? What's under the concrete, the plumbing and the electric, and there's all these different things, the HVAC on the roof, like that you don't see, but it works.
The success that we want to bring here at J Lane to every project is not only, giving the client their dream, is being able to walk into that coffee shop, the restaurant, or whatever we build that, and just be able to walk there and be proud.
We promise a lot, and we're going to deliver on those promises, and we want to be set apart in the end. We want to be known as excellent communicators, and we give our client the best experience.
Remember the first day, like I pulled up, we unlocked the doors, and you kind of go, are people going to show up? And then when cars start pulling in and people start walking in, it almost doesn't feel real. You're almost like, oh wait, we're really doing this now, which is a cool feeling to have.
One of my favorite things about getting to the end of a project is the feeling that we get, knowing that my team worked so hard throughout this whole process, and we get to the final product and the client is happy and everything we built is so beautiful. We grab the coffee, we sit down in this area. This is my favorite area right here. It's just an amazing feeling to get to the end and have this final produced result that blesses the city and blesses the client, and everyone is happy. So it's just super fulfilling. I'm also really excited to take Kevin's vision across Florida. Now that we've kind of worked through this first project, I love when a client comes back to us and says, I want to build more. That's why we do what we do, man, because we made you happy once. We know what you want. We know the vision, and we know the obstacles, and we know how to design it. So he's going to come to us now for design build. We have like 900 subcontractors in our database. Our ability to collaborate with all those people, I think, is what really sets us apart. A big component, a big vision behind J Lane is not just me being the best, or it's how can I pull the best out of everyone? And I impart that to my team. How can we impart all this core value and mission and vision to really realize an amazing final product? Biggby has great coffee, and I would highly recommend the cinnamon roll latte. It's good stuff, so check it out on Beach Boulevard.